In a world governed by logic and cosmic cycles, three extraterrestrial beings land on Earth to uncover the chaotic beauty of human emotions. What happens when beings of pure logic collide with the unpredictable tides of love and reproduction? Get ready for a journey filled with heart-stirring transformation. Will they navigate the ethical dilemmas looming ahead? If you want to dive into real stories of parallel realities every day, in enigmatic, technological worlds that are completely different from our planet, subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Well, let's go. The research vessel Durariana drifted silently through the void of space, its sleek, silver exterior reflecting the distant starlight. The interstellar craft was the pride of Darara, a planet known for its devotion to logic, reason, and meticulous scientific advancements. As the Durariana approached the solar system, its destination grew larger and more vivid on the ship's expansive viewport, a radiant blue sphere teeming with life and mysteries yet to be unraveled. Inside the vessel, Allura stood poised at the helm, her striking figure exuding authority. Her lithe form, draped in a shimmering outfit that mirrored the hues of a deep ocean, was a picture of calm resolve. As the mission leader, Allura's role was to ensure the success of their expedition and to exemplify the rational and composed nature of Darara's finest. Her deep blue eyes, akin to the vast cosmos, scanned the data streaming across the console, reflecting the analytical precision ingrained in her very being. Zura, the ship's lead scientist, was engrossed in fine-tuning the instrumentation panel. Unlike Allura's composed demeanor, Zra's personality was characterized by intense focus and unyielding determination. Standing slightly taller than Allura, with a physique that bespoke both grace and athleticism, Zra's movements were swift and exact. His attire, a complex weave of silver and dark green fibers, signified his rank and expertise in analytical sciences. His greenish skin seemed to glow faintly under the ship's artificial lighting, his bioluminescent tattoos pulsing in sync with his neural activity. Meanwhile, Maya, the youngest member of the trio, was almost bouncing on her feet. The youngest of the trio, with wide, emerald green eyes and short-cropped hair matching the vibrant flora of their home planet, Maya could barely contain her excitement. She was the embodiment of youthful curiosity, her eagerness to explore and learn often leading her to dive headfirst into new experiences. Dressed in a simple yet elegant outfit of soft blues and whites, representing her novice status, Maya's eyes were already fixed on the planet below with an almost childlike wonder. As the vessel initiated its descent, the viewport was filled with the vibrant hues of Earth's atmosphere. The ship's sleek form sliced through the sky, leaving a nearly invisible trail of energy in its wake. The ship's descent was pinpointed to a densely wooded area, chosen for its relative seclusion to minimize human interaction at the onset of their mission. Upon landing, the ramp of the Durariana extended gracefully onto the soft forest floor, creating an almost seamless transition from the technologically advanced interior of the ship to the wild, untamed Earth outside. The atmosphere was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, a stark contrast to the sterile environment of their vessel. Waiting to greet them was Jake, the human liaison designated by the global scientific community to facilitate their mission. Jake was an experienced scientist in his mid-40s with sandy hair just beginning to show flecks of gray. His build was robust, clothed comfortably in practical, earth-toned garments suitable for outdoor exploration. He extended a warm, albeit cautious, welcome, his blue eyes reflecting a mix of excitement and awe at meeting beings from another world. Jake's role in this grand experiment was paramount. Chosen for his expertise in both human and comparative alien biology, his open-mindedness made him the perfect intermediary. However, as Allura, Zura, and Maya descended and stepped onto the unfamiliar soil, the cultural and communicative chasms between the species became immediately apparent. Though advanced translation devices were at their disposal, the nuances of human expressions and emotions would prove much harder to bridge. Their mission was clear yet daunting: to study the perplexing phenomenon of human reproduction and the deep-seated emotions accompanying it, elements seemingly chaotic and illogical to the rational minds of Darara. Alora's leadership would be critical in navigating the complexities of this assignment. ZRA's analytical rigor would ensure the integrity of their data, and Maya's boundless curiosity promised to uncover insights hidden beneath the surface. Jake led the aliens through the dense forest, every step a revelation to the visitors. The forest floor was a tapestry of life, from the smallest insects scurrying underfoot to the towering trees that seemed to touch the sky. The air was filled with an orchestra of sounds: chirping birds, rustling leaves, and the distant murmur of a river. Each sensory input was meticulously documented by Zura, whose scanner buzzed softly as it processed the vibrant biosphere. Emerging from the forest, they entered a bustling city. The transition from the serene, natural environment to the frenetic urban landscape was overwhelming. Skyscrapers stretched high, their glass facades reflecting the midday sun. Streets were alive with the blur of human activity, each person a potential subject for their study. The cacophony of car horns, chatter, and distant construction work was strangely harmonious in its discordance. Jake's initial explanations were met with varying degrees of skepticism, intrigue, and perplexity. He spoke of the emotional tapestry that dictated much of human life: relationships built on affection, the turmoil of heartbreak, the joy of parenthood, and the passion that drove human creativity and conflict alike. To Alora, whose understanding of existence was grounded in logic and order, this was bewildering. She questioned the efficiency and rationality of these emotional processes, her tone calm but inquisitive. Zura, ever the scientist, took a different approach. He observed and noted the physiological responses of humans to emotional stimuli, his scanner constantly recording heart rates, skin conductance, and neural activity patterns. His interest lay in quantifying these intangibles, turning the abstract into data points that could be analyzed and understood. Maya, on the other hand, was captivated. She immersed herself in the stories and traditions Jake shared, her eyes sparkling with uncontained curiosity. Each human interaction was a new chapter in a vast, unwritten book of experiences. She saw in human emotions not chaos, but a richness that hinted at deeper meanings. Their differences sparked internal conflicts. Alora's insistence on logic sometimes came off as coldness, creating friction with Jake, who struggled to convey the beauty and necessity of emotions. ZRA's data-driven approach often clashed with the experiential narratives he was presented with, creating a barrier between scientific observation and lived reality. Maya's open-heartedness initially seemed naive, but it soon became clear that her empathy could bridge gaps that data and logic could not. As the group delved deeper into the human experience, they were taken to family gatherings, romantic encounters, and community events. Alora observed the unbreakable bonds between parents and children, their love a force that defied her understanding of logic. ZRA's data revealed that these emotional connections seemed to imbue humans with a remarkable resilience and creativity absent in Darara's sterile uniformity. Maya, with each interaction, found herself experiencing emotions firsthand, confusion turning into an enchanting revelation. Jake led the alien trio through forests and cities, unveiling Earth's diverse and vibrant life forms. Each new sight and sound was a revelation. Their senses, attuned to the orderly and predictable rhythms of Darara, were now bombarded by Earth's cacophony of stimuli. Flocks of brightly colored birds darted through the trees, their melodic songs clashing and harmonizing in chaotic symphony. The air was filled with the fragrance of blooming flowers, mingling with the scent of earth and water, a sensory overload for beings accustomed to the sterile perfection of their home planet. Allura, Zura, and Maya began to realize just how different Earth was from Darara. There was an inherent warmth and fragility in everything around them. The plants fought for sunlight, spreading their leaves and reaching skyward. A silent battle played out in slow motion. The animals, from the smallest ants traversing the forest floor to the majestic deer moving gracefully through the underbrush, exhibited a range of behaviors driven by instincts that were as foreign to the aliens as the rustling leaves. Jake, with his well-worn boots and weathered face, was their guide in this new world. His eyes twinkled with an understanding that spoke of years lived in close communion with nature. He explained the human concepts of love and reproduction, emphasizing their emotional components, a topic that stretched the trio's comprehension to its limits. Allura remained skeptical, her mind a fortress of logic. She viewed the complexities of human relationships as inefficiencies, deviations from a path of rational progress. Her brows furrowed as she struggled to align these notions with her rigid worldview. Zura documented everything meticulously, using an array of advanced recording devices that floated and scanned, capturing data in ways Jake could hardly fathom. Numbers, graphs, and charts were her shields against the impenetrable fog of human emotions. Yet, even she couldn't help but notice the way Jake's voice softened when he spoke of his family, or the way his eyes misted over when recounting stories of love lost and found. These were data points she couldn't quantify but couldn't ignore either. Maya, ever the explorer, absorbed stories and traditions with an open heart, her curiosity leading her into deeper, uncharted emotional territories. She felt an inexplicable connection to the children they encountered in a bustling city park, their laughter a symphony of innocence and joy that resonated with something deep within her. She began to see emotions not as chaotic impulses but as vibrant threads weaving the tapestry of life. As they walked through the city, the trio encountered a myriad of human interactions, couples holding hands, friends sharing meals, strangers exchanging fleeting glances. The humans' emotional expressions were raw and often perplexing. Laughter could turn to tears without warning, and passion could spark from nothing. Jake introduced them to art and music, forms of expression that seemed to encapsulate the very essence of human emotions. Allura's analytical mind found these forms puzzling. How could something as subjective as a painting or a melody hold so much power over the human heart? Jake took them to a bustling marketplace, where the scents of exotic spices mingled with the aroma of freshly baked bread. Vendors shouted, children played, and the chaos seemed to arrange itself into a pattern of life so different from the orderly existence the aliens knew. Allura winced at the noise, the disorder grating against her need for control. Zra's devices whirred and clicked, collecting data at a furious pace, but even she found it hard to process the sheer volume of sensory information. Maya, on the other hand, reveled in the experience. She tasted unfamiliar fruits, felt the rough texture of handcrafted fabrics, and listened to the harmonious sounds of street musicians. She was captivated by the vibrancy of human life, each interaction a puzzle piece fitting into a broader picture of emotional richness. The differences sparked conflicts and tensions. Allura questioned the human way, seeing it as inefficiency. She challenged Jake's explanations with pointed questions, her logical mind seeking order in the chaos. How could humans function effectively with such emotional turbulence? Jake responded with patience, explaining that emotions, while messy, also drove creativity, compassion, and resilience. Allura nodded but remained unconvinced, her eyes revealing the turmoil within. Zura struggled to quantify the intangibles. Her instruments could measure physical responses, heart rates, brainwaves, hormonal fluctuations, but they couldn't capture the essence of a heartfelt embrace or the profound sorrow in a tear. She grew frustrated, her logical framework ill-equipped to handle the unquantifiable aspects of human existence. Data was her anchor, and the more she collected, the more she realized how little she truly understood. Only Maya, with her open curiosity, seemed willing to fully embrace the human experience, laying the groundwork for the internal conflicts that would soon emerge. She felt an emotional awakening, a newfound appreciation for the depth and complexity of human life. Yet, this also created a rift within the group. Alora's skepticism and Zra's frustration clashed with Maya's burgeoning empathy, leading to heated discussions and strained relationships. One day, as they walked through a serene botanical garden, the tension reached a boiling point. Alora's patience wore thin as Maya lingered by a blooming rose bush, her fingers gently tracing the petals. "We don't have time for sentimentality," Alora snapped, her voice cutting through the tranquil air like a blade. Maya looked up, her eyes filled with confusion and hurt. "Understanding emotions is part of our mission," Maya replied softly, her voice trembling. "How can we learn if we don't experience them ourselves?" Alora opened her mouth to retort, but Jake intervened, placing a calming hand on her shoulder. "She's right, Alora," he said gently. "Part of understanding is experiencing. You can't quantify love or sorrow, you have to feel it." The words hung in the air, a silent challenge that Alora couldn't easily dismiss. She turned away, her expression a mask of conflict. Zra, observing the interaction, felt a pang of empathy. She understood Alora's struggle, yet she too was beginning to see the value in Maya's perspective. Their journey continued through the urban jungle of towering skyscrapers and narrow alleyways, each street a new chapter in their unfolding story. They met artists who poured their souls into canvases, musicians who played their hearts out on street corners, and lovers who found solace in each other's arms despite the chaos around them. The trio was exposed to the full spectrum of human emotions: joy, sorrow, love, and despair, each encounter leaving an indelible mark on their perceptions. Jake invited them to his home, a quaint cottage on the outskirts of the city. The evening was filled with warmth and laughter as his family welcomed the trio with open arms. They shared stories around a roaring fire, the flickering flames casting dancing shadows on the walls. Alora's stern demeanor softened as she watched Jake's children play, their joy a palpable energy that seemed to permeate the room. The study of human emotions and reproductive processes delved deeper as Jake introduced the alien trio to a range of human experiences. They visited bustling marketplaces, serene parks, and vibrant cultural festivals, absorbing every facet of life on Earth. Each encounter further complicated their understanding, prompting a myriad of emotions and conflicting thoughts within the group. At a family gathering in a suburban home, they witnessed the warmth and sometimes overwhelming nature of familial bonds. Children played noisily, parents exchanged affectionate glances, and grandparents shared stories from their youth. These gatherings were a stark contrast to the ordered and emotionless upbringing Alora, Zra, and Maya had experienced on Darara. Alora was particularly struck by the unconditional love parents showed their children, a concept she found difficult to reconcile with her own logic-driven mindset. As the trio continued their exploration, an unexpected phenomenon began to emerge in Zra's data. Using advanced scanning technology, Zra detected subtle energy patterns around humans during moments of intense emotion. These patterns seemed to enhance cognitive functions, suggesting that emotions, far from being mere disturbances, might play a crucial role in human resilience and adaptability. This revelation challenged Zra's ingrained belief that emotions were superfluous. Maya, meanwhile, was becoming increasingly drawn to the human way of life. Her interactions with children and young adults opened her eyes to the joys of play, friendship, and adventure. She found herself laughing, feeling joy and sadness, emotions she had never experienced before. This immersion allowed her to view emotions not as chaotic impulses but as essential components that gave life its vibrancy. One evening, Jake took them to a romantic outing at a local fairground, a place filled with dazzling lights, thrilling rides, and the intoxicating aroma of street food. Amid the laughter and shrieks of delight, couples held hands, exchanged kisses, and shared intimate moments. Alora couldn't help but notice the sincere passion in their eyes, a form of connection that eluded logical explanation. "This doesn't translate into logical parameters," Alora remarked, her voice tinged with frustration. "How can something so unpredictable be integral to existence?" Jake smiled softly, realizing the difficulty Alora faced. "It's not about logic, it's about connection," he replied, his voice calm yet firm. As they moved through the fairground, Zura meticulously recorded the various expressions and reactions of humans, his analytical mind racing to form coherent data from the seemingly boundless emotional spectrum. He began to see a pattern, albeit faint, that suggested a complex interplay between emotions and physiological states. This discovery intrigued him, opening a portal to uncharted territories in their scientific endeavors. Maya, on the other hand, allowed herself to be swept up in the atmosphere. She rode the Ferris wheel, relishing the sensation of wind in her face, and sampled cotton candy, her taste buds dancing with the unfamiliar sweetness. Each new experience added layers to her rapidly developing emotional capacity, heightening her empathy and understanding of humans. But these new revelations came at a cost. The trio began experiencing internal conflicts and tensions, their differing responses to human emotions creating rifts in their once unified mission. Alora felt her grip on stability slipping, torn between the serene predictability of Darara and the dynamic allure of Earth. She often found herself lost in thought, grappling with questions that had no clear answers. Zura faced his own scientific dilemma. Emotions were intangible, defying quantification. This realization both excited and frightened him, as it hinted at realms of knowledge beyond his current understanding. The more he studied Earth's inhabitants, the more he realized that emotions could not be dismissed as mere anomalies. They were fundamental to the human condition. Maya's transformation was perhaps the most profound. No longer just an observer, she felt a growing sense of identity and independence. Her emotional experiences brought depth to her previously logical existence, making her question the rigid confines of Darara's culture. She began to understand Jake's explanations on a deeper level, not just intellectually but emotionally. These internal struggles culminated in a pivotal moment. During a stormy night, the group sought shelter in a quaint, rustic cabin in the woods. The rain tapped rhythmically against the windows, and the fire crackled softly, filling the room with a warm glow. It was here that Jake, sensing their turmoil, decided to share a deeply personal story. He spoke of his wife, Maria, who had passed away several years earlier. Jake described their love, the joy they had shared, and the immense pain of losing her. His voice broke as he recounted their last moments together, the raw grief palpable in every word. As he spoke, tears welled up in his eyes, his vulnerability laid bare before the alien visitors. Alora felt an inexplicable ache in her chest, her usual composure faltering. The profound emotional weight of Jake's story stirred something within her, a turmoil she couldn't categorically define. Zura, too, was visibly moved. For the first time, his scientific detachment gave way to empathy. He realized that emotions, while unquantifiable, brought a richness to life that no amount of logic could replicate. Maya, overcome with emotion, reached out and placed a comforting hand on Jake's shoulder. She didn't have words to offer, but her gesture spoke volumes. In that moment, she felt a deep connection to Jake and understood the human experience in a way she hadn't thought possible. These experiences brought an unforeseen clarity. The trio began to perceive emotions not as chaotic disturbances but as vital forces that enriched human existence. They learned to appreciate the complexity and beauty of emotions, acknowledging their integral role in forming meaningful connections. However, this newfound understanding brought more questions than answers. The trio realized their mission had uncovered far more than they had anticipated. Earth, with its emotional depth and unpredictability, had shown them a facet of life that defied logic but was undeniably integral to existence. As the storm raged outside, the trio sat in contemplative silence, their minds buzzing with the implications of their discoveries. They knew that their journey was far from over. New challenges and revelations awaited them, both on Earth and beyond. The fire in the cabin flickered, casting dancing shadows on the walls. The rain continued to fall, a soothing reminder of the constant cycles of change. The trio had come to Earth with a mission to understand human reproduction and emotions, but they had found so much more. Their experiences had set the stage for a transformative journey, one that would challenge their beliefs and reshape their understanding of life. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with both promise and peril. But one thing was clear. Their time on Earth had irrevocably altered their perspectives, opening their minds to the endless possibilities that lay ahead. With hearts and minds stirred by the emotional revelations, Allura, Zura, and Maya prepared for the next phase of their mission. They had glimpsed the profound power of emotions and the intricate tapestry of human existence. Now, they were ready to continue their exploration, armed with newfound knowledge and a burning curiosity to uncover even deeper truths. The change wrought by Earth's relentless tapestry of emotions was becoming impossible for Allura, Zura, and Maya to ignore. Each new day they spent exploring the chaotic beauty of human life seemed to chip away at their preconceived notions of existence itself. Allura's internal struggle with the ineffable essence of emotion reached a fever pitch. For Zura, it meant an existential crisis, as their scientific principles faltered in the face of love, hope, and despair. Maya, previously the youngest and most unencumbered by preconceptions, found herself swept along by waves of new feelings, gradually transforming her into someone with a burgeoning sense of identity. One night, amidst a tempestuous storm that reflected the turmoil within each of them, Jake invited the alien trio into his modest home. The flickering beams of candlelight cast shadows all around, adding to the room's sense of intimate coziness. The air seemed charged, as though it were holding its breath for what was to come. This was no ordinary evening, and Jake could sense it. Something deep and transformative was on the precipice of unfolding. Gathering them around a table adorned with the remnants of a human meal, Jake decided to narrate his own tale. He began hesitantly, his voice laden with the weight of memories long buried. It was a story of love found and lost, of dreams shared and shattered. Jake spoke of his companion, Emily, a woman whose love had lit up his existence and whose departure left an unfillable void. He recounted their adventures, small and large, the thrill of their first encounter, the comfort of shared silences, the plans they'd made for the future, only for disease to cruelly sever their bond. Every word was imbued with raw emotion, a poignant melody that played to the rhythms of Allura, Zura, and Maya's consciousness. Allura's face remained stoic, her eyes fixed on Jake's lips like an enigma to be decoded. Inside, however, a storm raged. The logical leader, always the foundation upon which the group stood, felt her very bedrock shaking. Emotions, once derided as inefficiencies, were showing her their hidden profundity. How could something so intangible wield such power? The turmoil within made her question everything she had ever understood about the universe. For Zura, the analytical scientist, every detail of Jake's story was an anomaly, challenging every equation, every theory that had defined Zra's understanding. Data had always been the shield against the unknown, a comforting barrier between reality and abstraction. But here was an element, unsolvable, unable to be quantified, affecting immeasurably tangible outcomes. How could mere affection create resilience in humans, helping them endure existential despair? Jake's voice seeped through Zra's analytical defenses, filling the void left by empirical coldness with warmth and empathy. Maya, wide-eyed and attentive, found Jake's recounting to be a jigsaw piece clicking perfectly into the puzzle of her awakening. She felt Jake's sorrow as if it were her own, her newfound emotional awareness embracing his pain and triumphs like a spectral echo. Jake's narrative gave her flashing visions of what it meant to be profoundly connected, showing her that emotions were not chaotic dissonances but symphonic harmonies knitting lives together. Each word Jake spoke was like a lesson imbibed, changing her in unquantifiable ways. The storm outside intensified, rain drumming a frenetic rhythm against the windows as lightning occasionally lit up the room with brief, stark clarity. It felt as if nature itself was mirroring the seismic shifts happening within the room. Jake paused, looking around at the three extraterrestrial beings who were now visibly moved, their previous reservations washed away in the torrent of his shared humanity. Allura, once the embodiment of calm authority, felt something crack open within her. The stoic facade she had skillfully maintained quivered and fell away, revealing an emotional tumult that had been building since their first encounter with human life. She faced a paradoxical realization. Emotions, these indeterminate forces she had sought to understand through the prism of logic, were not adversarial to her nature but enriching supplements that could coalesce with her being in ways she had never fathomed. Meanwhile, Zra's detachment melted away under the onslaught of empathetic revelation. Data and figures now appeared sterile, inadequate in capturing the essence of human existence. What equations could define the alchemy of love? What algorithms could faithfully decode the tenacity born of sorrow? Zra understood that their role as a scientist was not only to catalog the quantifiable but also to appreciate the unquantifiable, the ineffable textures of emotional experience that gave life its vibrancy. Maya's transformation felt almost complete. She looked at Jake, tears shimmering in her alien eyes, feeling a deeper connection to him and, by extension, to the chaotic beauty of human life. Her emotions were no longer isolated data points but a coherent narrative, fueling her understanding and empathy. It wasn't just about observation anymore, it was about participation, about plunging into the whirlpool of feelings and emerging enriched and whole. This night, associated with the tumultuous storm, symbolized more than just weather. It was an emotional catalyst pushing Allura, Zra, and Maya toward an epiphany. Their mission had begun with the idea that emotions were enigmatic disturbances in the otherwise orderly fabric of existence. However, they now saw these forces as integral, providing the very texture that made life meaningful. The realization was confounding yet liberating, setting a new trajectory for their journey. Jake's personal story, packed with the essence of humanity's emotional range, acted as a mirror reflecting their own transforming selves. It cemented their understanding that emotions, far from being antagonists to logic and order, were co-architects in designing a fuller, richer existence. The journey towards comprehension had taken an unexpected yet enlightening turn, revealing dimensions they could not have anticipated. As the storm outside began to wane, its ferocity relinquishing to a gentle patter, the air inside Jake's home thickened with unspoken understanding and mutual transformation. Allura, Zra, and Maya had crossed a threshold, moving away from mere scientific detachment toward emotional symbiosis. They now understood that emotions were not a hindrance but a complex, beautiful dance that gave life its depth and richness. The climactic night ended without fanfare, as the realization dawned that their journey was far from complete. They had merely scratched the surface, uncovering layers of profound truths yet to be fully integrated into their being. Their mission was evolving, not toward a definite conclusion but toward an ongoing quest enriched with newfound wisdom. The storm might have passed, but its impact would linger, setting the stage for the unpredictable paths ahead. And as the first rays of dawn pierced through the storm's remnants, illuminating the world in a fresh golden hue, a new day began. Not just for Earth but for Allura, Zura, and Maya. The culmination of their mission marked a transformation that resonated deeply within the hearts and minds of Allura, Zura, and Maya. As the Durariana prepared to depart from Earth, the atmosphere inside the ship was charged with an unspoken sense of changed destiny. The familiar hum of the engines filled the cabin, a stark contrast to the tumultuous whirlwind of emotions that now whirled within the crew. Allura, ever the unwavering leader, found herself standing by the viewport, gazing at the receding image of the azure planet. Her thoughts were a tempest of contradictions. Her journey on Earth had shattered the rigid confines of her logic-based world, injecting a newfound appreciation for the spontaneity and unpredictability that emotions could bring. For the first time, she pondered the possibility of integrating such emotional depth into Darara's meticulously organized society. The challenge now lay in striking a delicate balance between maintaining their logical superiority and embracing the enriching chaos of human emotions. As the research data compiled by Zura scrolled endlessly across the screens, there was a visible shift in his demeanor. The cold detachment that once defined his scientific pursuits had thawed. He had seen firsthand how emotions could drive humans to heights of creativity and resilience unimaginable to the Darararians. Zra's meticulous records now included not just empirical data, but reflections and insights on the emotional experiences they had encountered. He knew that incorporating this newfound understanding could propel their scientific endeavors into groundbreaking realms previously thought unattainable. Maya, the youngest and most impressionable, had undergone the most profound transformation. The wide-eyed curiosity that had marked her initial steps on Earth had evolved into an empathetic wisdom. As she wandered through the ship, each corner seemed to echo with the memories and lessons she had gathered from humans. The stories of love, loss, joy, and sorrow had woven themselves into the fabric of her being. She had come to understand that emotions were not merely chaotic impulses but potent connections that added profound meaning to existence. Maya felt an exhilarating sense of empowerment, a nascent identity that was both Darararian and enriched by her human experiences. Jake's personal revelations, shared during that stormy night, had left an indelible mark on each of them. His raw honesty about loss and love had broken through their emotional barriers, leaving them more connected to the human experience than they had thought possible. Allura had seen her own fears mirrored in Jake's stories. Zura had felt the weight of emotions he couldn't quantify, and Maya had found a kindred spirit in human vulnerability. As the Durariana ascended through Earth's atmosphere, leaving behind the vibrant yet chaotic planet, the crew's reflections on their mission crystallized. Allura, standing tall yet contemplative, envisaged a future where Darara could traverse the intricate dance between logic and emotion, creating a society that thrived on both order and the enriching spontaneity of human experiences. Zra's awe for emotional resilience sparked a fervor within him to explore the depths of emotional intelligence, seeking ways to harness it for scientific enlightenment. He had grown to respect the subtle nuances of emotions as not just abstract phenomena but as integral components of a nuanced and sophisticated life. Maya's transformation had turned her into a bridge between two worlds. She was no longer just curious, she was compassionate, her wisdom augmented by the gamut of human emotions she had encountered. She envisioned herself as a harbinger of change, someone who could inspire her people to embrace the emotional complexities she had come to love. The blue orb of Earth slowly faded into the black expanse of space, but the memories and lessons it imparted lingered, casting a lasting glow on their journey. They had ventured to Earth with the intent to study and learn, but what they gleaned was far beyond mere academic knowledge. They had experienced a metamorphosis that redefined their perception of reality and the essence of life itself. Their mission had unveiled profound truths and stirred a myriad of questions, ensuring their voyage of discovery was far from complete. For Alora, Zura, and Maya, Earth had become more than a subject of study, it had become a beacon of possibility. It symbolized the potential for an existence where logic and emotion coexisted harmoniously, where the stability of order intertwined with the liberating force of chaos, leading to a richer, more holistic way of life. As the Durariana journeyed further into the cosmos, the crew carried with them the essence of their experiences on Earth, a testament to the inexhaustible quest for knowledge and the irreplaceable enriching power of human emotions. Their story continued, a saga marked by transformation, learning, and the ever-present mystery of what lies beyond the known, ever inviting them to delve deeper into the wonders of existence. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.